I finally stood up and I said, it's time to speak out. It's time to speak up. It's time to share our story. I can't stay silent anymore because I could make a difference. Because I have sat there and I have wondered, what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn from all of this? What are my kids supposed to learn from this? And all I can hold on to is that our journey will help and save somebody else. My name is Shanta Fogarty. I am a Wisconsin native, but I lived in Myrtle Beach for 3 years, and that was 2 years ago we left. Right now we're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we came back to visit this weekend for friends, and I was so excited to see that you guys were going to be in the area and going up towards Raleigh, but then also kind of sad that I potentially could miss seeing you guys and miss signing the bus. Thankful for my friend Alex, who helped set this all up.
Alex, while we got you on, I just want to tell everybody this woman's a rock star. She has so looked after us. She got pressed today for us, and you're just amazing.
Thank you.
Never thank you enough for all you've done. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Now, how many children do you have?
I have 4 children, 3 boys and 1 little girl. I have with me my oldest son and my youngest, my only daughter.
Okay, and so you have 3 children that are injured.
Yes, my 3 boys are vaccine injured. My older 2 are more dramatically so than my youngest. They are all vaccinated on different levels, but they were all vaccinated.
Okay, so let's talk about how you as a mum were about vaccines before you knew what you know now.
So I have a different standpoint than a lot of people generally jump out and say that they are no longer pro-vaccine. I cannot say I was ever pro-vaccine because I was never educated about them. I was oblivious to them. I did what the doctor said. I walked out of every well visit with the insert that they gave us, which was not...
Wait, stop. Someone actually gave you one?
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't actually the insert. It was just what the doctor, told you was the insert. And
you're the first parent of all the interviews I've ever done that has ever been given anything.
It was just the standard risks, pros, cons form.
So it's a little leaflet rather
yes,
than
the leaflet.
The
but
cutout. Okay, so
but
it's
they,
not the cutout part
correct.
of the... Okay, got you.
But they referred to it as, this is the vaccine insert, this is the information that you need to come to a conclusion with.
And what was on that?
It was a lot of pros, very few cons, but I didn't know anything different, and so every well visit it was vaccinate the baby. It was never it was never an option. There was never an option. It was just, this is what we are going to do today. We have 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, vaccines. There was never a, would you like to do this? Have you researched to do this? So as a mom of 4, I have never been pro-vaccine because I was not informed. I did not consent on a educated basis.
Okay, so let's start with your first vaccinated child. Talk us through what happened, how your child was before.
So my oldest, it's kind of difficult to break it down to each child because the boys are 3 years. I had 3 boys in 3 years and 3 months. And our oldest was fully vaccinated on schedule until our second son was 12 months old. After our second son turned 12 months old, that's when we started doing delayed and selective. All of our boys, looking back now, had reactions at every single visit. Our oldest, he had chronic ear infections, double ear infections, starting at 2.5 months old. Back to back. Antibiotics, the first year of life. It was horrible. Digestive issues by 4 months old. he seemed to be developing in the grand scheme of things normally, walking early, but speech-wise, he was a very delayed speaker, probably 3.5, 4 years old. Our second son, we vaccinated on schedule until his 12-month vaccines, when that was a reaction to the MMR. And I'm not sure if he got the varicella or not, because we had requested not to have that one given. That was the only one that, at the time, we said we didn't feel comfortable with. I had chickenpox, my husband had chickenpox. That's what we knew. So, but on his vaccine record, it actually says varicella at 12 months. So I don't know if it is I don't know if he actually got it or not, or if it was just billed.
Did they write the batch number next to the...
No, I don't have a single batch number to any of the vaccines my children were ever given. So at that 12-month reaction, we had the high-pitched screaming. We had just very irritable little baby. He was so happy, and that shook us, but it didn't shake us to say no more. It made us stop and say, let's do delayed and selective, which we did then up until our oldest was 5 and our second was 3 years and 4 months. We decided to do their vaccines for 3 and 5 at the same time, because it was just easier to take them at the same time. Our world changed after that. Our third son, I shouldn't leave him out. Our third son was a micro preemie, and he has vaccine injuries, but he is not as severe as his brothers. And as hard as his micro preemie history was for us, I find it his saving grace, because he is not vaccinated as much as his brothers. He was not vaccinated when he was sick or even remotely sick. And I feel like that saved him neurologically in some aspects. Our older boys, within 2 weeks of their 5-year and 3-year, 4-month vaccines, we saw dramatic changes. Our happy, normal little boys were becoming aggressive, very aggressive, and their demeanors were so different. Their eyes looked empty. That's the only way I can explain it. That light in a child's eyes was gone. And it had diminished every well visit, but this last time, it took it away. And their behaviors were changing drastically. Within a few months, we were seeing a child psychiatrist because we didn't know what to do. We were diagnosed with SPD. We were diagnosed with anxiety. We were diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. We were diagnosed with IED, ODD, autistic tendencies, and Asperger tendencies between our 2 older boys. Mind-blowing. And we watched our happy, normal functioning little boys just slip away, and it was like a rabbit hole. It got worse as the days went by. We decided to medicate for 6 months.
So wait, so you went to
a child psychiatrist.
And the psychologist recommended you medicate?
Yes.
Did he or she explain exactly what they were medicating for? What did they say was wrong with your boys?
They, at the time, were just addressing the neurological behavior standpoint, nothing else. Hi.
So they didn't look into why your child maybe had diarrhea or any of the other
there was
symptoms.
never...
It was all to do with the behavior.
Yes, it was just solely the behavior, yes. And so we had stopped vaccinating at that point, but we were so lost. We didn't have any support in that aspect.
Also, do you mind me asking, do you have a medical degree?
I do not.
Does your husband have a medical degree?
He does not.
Well, how are you supposed to know what to do? I mean, these people have medical degrees.
Right,
and we trust them with their medical
supposed to trust them.
Once, never again.
So we medicated for 6 months, both of our older boys. And when it got to be about month 5, my husband and I looked at each other and we said we couldn't do this anymore. We had already started occupational therapy for the sensory issues. We had started counseling, trying to work through self-regulation, which in the end it seemed a lot of blame game. It seemed like our boys' behavior was a ramification of their household, and which was really frustrating. So we ended up leaving the counseling because it seemed like a very targeted, they were trying to find something wrong within our home that was causing them to have such raging behaviors that couldn't be explained for any reason. But we knew, and we started digging deeper and deeper, and we decided to wean from the medication. It was a very ugly time because over those months,
Who helped you wean from the medication?
nobody.
You did it yourself.
We did it ourselves. We did it ourselves.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? This is the key. These people want to vaccinate our kids, they tell it it's safe. Then they want to drug our kids.
Yes.
And then when you are hitting shit's pan, excuse my language,
Yep.
you are on your own.
Yes.
Totally on your own.
Yes.
Where was the person that was going to help you with weaning them off and putting your child right? Sorry, carry on. It makes me angry because it's just so awful
Yeah.
that this happened to you.
Our boys, we had to, Honey, you don't have water with me. I'm sorry. It's in the car.
What did you want?
She wants a drink.
What would you like? Well,
Would you like a drink?
We have some water.
Would you like some water? Yeah.
Yeah? All right. I think you're sitting on the water. You're sitting on the water.
Sitting on the
bottles. But I think someone's got something in it. It may not be nice. There's these ones, but let's just them.
Does she want cold water? Or
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, it's
That's
plastic
okay.
bottles. We don't normally do that if we
Here,
can.
baby. Okay, so our older boys, over those several months between the last and final reaction that we allowed them to have, being diagnosed, medicating, we went through periods of having to go through training with our OT on how to restrain our boys because they would go into rages. They would go into complete meltdowns and just everything that was important in life just completely gone. Their only focus was frustration and they didn't know how to deal with it.
Now, what age are your boys at this point? Are you talking about?
They were 5.5, and then our second son was almost 3.5 to almost 4.
So, I mean, I know from one son with Ray, we couldn't go out. We couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I want to say that first year alone was a very secluded time. Very secluded. Lost a lot of friends because I had to bail. I had to bail on play dates. We weren't invited to places because the boys were overwhelming. And I understood to an extent. But then I was also very frustrated. Like, where are my friends? Where's my support? I've lost so much. I don't want to lose people that I thought loved us.
Did you have family support? Did they believe you?
Well, the thing is, we weren't really discussing the aspect of this journey with our family at that point. It's probably been over the last 2 years that I finally stood up and I said, it's time to speak out. It's time to speak up. It's time to share our story. I can't stay silent anymore because I could make a difference. Because I have sat there and I have wondered, what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn from all of this? What are my kids supposed to learn from this? And all I can hold on to is that our journey will help and save somebody else. Because I don't wish this upon anybody. Like I was saying, those 6 months, those 7 months, we had to gut their bedrooms. I could not have them have a metal bed frame in their room. I could not have them have those wooden cubicles for storage because everything was a weapon. They would go into these rages and they would flip their mattress off. They would pick up their metal, frame and they would throw it against the wall, throw it by the window, throw it at me if I was there. It was a scary time.
People are asking your beautiful calm son that's sitting next to you. They clearly want to know what you did.
I think stopping vaccinating was the best thing we could do at the time. We have not done any major detoxing beyond doing Epsom salts, using essential oils, some herbal remedies, changing our diets completely, trying to eat as much of a real food diet as possible. Because resources, they're there, but they're expensive. And there's so much that we want to do with our kids for detox, but it's all a step-by-step process.
You know, organisations like Thinking Mums Revolution and TACA, that they do grants. Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Everyone's saying what an amazing boy you are.
Can you say hi?
Yeah, they say not only are you very handsome, but you're also a very good big brother. They've been watching you with your sister. Very important. Thank you so much for being a big brother. There's feeding going on here.
Blowing raspberries. Okay, stop.
Okay, so how are things today? How are you coping with everything you've been through?
So, I feel like my biggest coping mechanism is sharing what we've gone through. And I will tell you that after seeing Vaxxed in the theater in Charlotte, it lit something in me that was there, but it was hidden. I left the theater and I said to a few of my friends that I have been active in sharing our story, but I haven't been as active as I should have been, which makes me feel like I've been silent, because I feel like I've sugar-coated so much of it. I feel like I haven't gone into the scary things we've dealt with. You know, I can tell anybody that I have 3 neurologically vaccine-injured children and they have their digestive issues. But until I open up and I share the reality of what we have gone through and what we go through now, because I have a 4th grader, a 2nd grader, and a kindergartner. And our 4th grade and 2nd grader are struggling, and it has been that way since their last reaction. We have gone through so many different curriculums. We have homeschooled, we have gone to public school, we have gone to private school. Their neurological state has been so altered, and that has been the hardest part for me. And I know people say you can't be guilty because you weren't informed, but it is a reality that I have to live with, because now our kids are going to an amazing school this fall. We got them into a nature-based charter school, and I know it's the place for them to be, but it hurts my heart to see their struggles. We had tutoring all summer. We had them evaluated. Their brains literally at this point have not moved beyond their last vaccine injury, which is really scary, because as much as I was not informed, I allowed it to happen. And I know people say don't be guilty about it, but it's hard when you deal with it every day and 3 times over. I once had somebody ask me, how is it possible for you to have 3 vaccine-injured children? Wouldn't you have, got a clue after the first one was injured and just stopped? And that really, it rubbed me the wrong way, because our kids are so close in age. They're 3 years and 3 months, 3 boys. And our 3rd son being in the NICU for as long as he was, that time was such a blur. And I feel like at that point I was just a puppet to the medical field, to the doctors. You know, I did what they said.
You were lied to.
I was lied to. I was lied to. And it was too late before we realized what was happening, because the damage was already done. Whether it be after 3 months of vaccines or 6 years of vaccines, the damage has been done, and I can't go back. And I trusted, how could I allow 3 children to be vaccine injured? Because I trusted the doctors. I trusted that their chronic sicknesses that resulted after well baby visits, I trusted that the speech delays, I trusted that the developmental delays were all normal, because it happens all the time, and that's what the doctors see, that it's normal, and it is not. It is not normal.
By telling your story, you've done one of the most powerful things that you can do, and that's what you've got to know. And also, you know that you're not on your own.
I know.
There are thousands, if not millions, worldwide of us.
I know.
That all did exactly the same thing. Some of us have one children. Some of us have dead babies. Some of us have in wheelchairs. Some of us have multiple. So whatever your situation is, you are so not alone.
Oh, I know, and I feel somewhat comforted, right? I think we all do, that we aren't in this journey alone. And
we were all lied to. All of us were lied to. And we're doing the best we can, the very best that we can,
with the
to
information,
undo the damage, to do the best we can for everybody else living in this world and warn them. That's all we can do, is keep going and doing our best. And you're a major part of that. A major part of that. And your children are absolutely beautiful. Please don't put plastic bottle tops in your mouth. And you are just an amazing, amazing boy, really and truly. I know you're snuggling there behind your mum. My son doesn't like being on camera either, so I completely understand. But also, there's a massive support system out there for you, getting a lot of love and hugs here on Periscope right now. And just know that we're all sort of here to lean on each other now. It's out. The word is out. And all of us are going to be continuing to speak about it. So... but they're sending you so much hugs and love. It's ridiculous. And you're trying to take my nail off my hand, aren't you?
Can you say hi?
How old are you?
How
many
old are you?
fingers old are you?
Are you
You one?
2?
2?
Boy.
What are you trying to say? You can't peel them off. They don't come off. They're my nails.
Are they red?
No.
Oh, you want them to be pink.
I want them
Everything's
to be pink. I'm a bit too old for pink nails. I've broken that now successfully already.
Rain.
And that's my wedding and engagement ring. Very special.
I want me.
And I have that's my Jesus ring. Yes, it is.
Rain.
Okay, I've got a feeling you shouldn't take it off my... beautiful children, and you're an amazing mother. You really, truly are.